Hello, and welcome to the Introverted Manager. Today I would like to show you how to build those heat maps without any custom visuals, although you will need some SVG recurry to work with that. However, I will provide you with SVG code under the description of the video, so you can take it there from my GitHub. It's actually quite easy since SVG is already done, and I made it customizable. You can see here multiple variations that you will be able to do with it. So you can either use it with gradient or with static color scheme. You can also play with sizes, and you can combine the two, gradients with sizing. And I've also added option that provides scaling separately for negative and positive values. This is done in case you have some outliers in your data, and I do have some outliers in my data where negative numbers are way smaller, bigger than the positive ones, which was creating skew in the sizing. So for this, there is option to scale negative and positive numbers separately. Let me walk you through. Okay, I'll make new page. Let me start with simple parts. Let me change the colors. Okay, that will do. We'll need regular matrix. Okay, you might be familiar with this trick from my other videos. So padded header, which just adds simple invisible symbol from Unicode, which breaks the line, and category. So let's add it here. For columns, we'll be breaking it down by months. So we'll need to add date here, which formatted as short name for months. And we'll need to add my measure here. I made few variations just to be able to display them on one page. All of them are the same, just configured differently. For this example, let me add, let's say, solid colors and size scaling here. And you see we're already quite close. However, we need to configure matrix a bit to play well with it. So first and foremost, you will need to go to image size and change it to 50/50. That is what by default measures configured for. Besides that, let's remove totals for now. We don't want that. Okay. Let's maybe filter some categories just for the sake of keeping it clean because my dataset is uneven. And actually here I will switch to padded header 1x. That will work better. Let's see. It does work better. Okay. Let's style metrics a bit. So first and foremost, let's switch to none. Okay, let's switch to background. Let's make it dark. Maybe let's make it, yes, this way. Okay, to stand out as the background. Visual border 15. Let's make it the same color. Okay, let's add some shadow and it should be brighter, right? To stand out, again, background. Bottom, although I usually use custom one, 90, then 70. Okay, this can be 80. Distance can be 0. And I think that will suffice for now. Let's center it. Middle, center. Let's add a bit here. Again, center. Got it. And let's work on those headers. Let's make them white. Row headers. Let's make them white as well. Let's align them to the right. Column headers we probably want to align in the middle. We probably want to remove padded header 1x. Doesn't look good, really. So I'll just switch it to empty. If you want, you can remove those lines. For this, you have to go to breathe and border. So column header, remove, row header, right, remove. Okay. Let's play with height a bit. And I think we need to go darker a bit because I think this color clashes a bit with red and green. Let's switch to background again. And let's go even darker. Okay, much better, much better. Okay, let me take this color and I will use it here as well. Okay, what do you think? Now let's play with parameters in my SVG measure. So I use this one, I believe, but let me check to be sure. Yes, I use this one. I will show you how you can configure it. So first and foremost, what you will do here is you will use or change your measure, right? I'm using sales versus target, and which is actually just actual sales minus target sales. That's all. Again, in your case, could be something different. And here are the toggles that you can play with, right? First of all, separate scaling for negative and positive values. So let's try switching it to 0 and let's see whether something will change. And something did change. As you can see here, the size for green squares did change when we switch this toggle. Again, based on your data, you can configure it differently. Now, besides that, let's turn off size scaling so you see the difference. Now, all of the squares are of the same size. And from here, you can also switch gradient on. And here's your heat map. So, based on your data and what you actually want to display, you can play with it and configure it in a way that you want. I intentionally try to make it flexible. If you want to change some colors, you will have to scroll down a bit and go here. Because I have all of that logic with gradients, without, etc., it's a bit more trickier here. However, you can change your static greens and static reds here. And if you want to change gradient colors, well, you will have to play with this color scheme here and here. If you want to change the sizing, that also can be done, and that can be done here. Currently it's at 250. It should be aligned with your sizing in your metrics. And that's all for today. Subscribe and see you in the next one.